So it turns out California just might have outdone itself again. So we've seen our share of out of touch, soft on crime, radically progressive politicians. But this week, LA Mayor Karen Bass may have taken the crown. She went on CNN and delivered one of the most clueless, gaslighting interviews that we've seen in a long time, defending violent riots, blaming Trump, and somehow arguing that federal law doesn't apply in Los Angeles.
Well, I just have to say that if you dial back time and go to Friday, if immigration raids had not happened here, we would not have the disorder that went on last night. I will tell you that it is peaceful now, but we do not know where and when the next raids will be. That is the concern, because people in the city have a rapid response network. If they see ICE, they go out and they protest. And so it's just a recipe for pandemonium that is completely unnecessary. Nothing was happening here. Los Angeles was peaceful before Friday.
She really said that. So let's break this down. Karen Bass just said that the riots, the one with fireworks, Molotov cocktails, and attacks on law enforcement, wouldn't have happened if ICE hadn't enforced immigration law. You heard that right. Her argument is that the federal government upholding the law is the problem, not the violent mobs reacting to it. That's like blaming the fire department for showing up after someone burned a building down, then be like, how dare you come and try to put this fire out for us, escalating things when we clearly have it under control with our water bottles.
Federal agents conducted a surprise raid on the parking lot. Video shared with NBC4 shows multiple cars. The agents went straight for the group of day laborers gathered in the parking lot, says this day laborer who asked to remain anonymous.
Immigrant rights advocates quickly responding.
We're only here to support ourselves and to maintain our families.
It is not a crime to look for work. It is not a crime to be a day laborer.
A Southside Home Depot is at the center of growing community frustration. Customers and neighbors say the store has become a magnet for migrant loitering and harassment.
Some residents tell us they no longer feel safe visiting this store. They're calling on the city and on Home Depot to step in.
The men, 4, 5, 6, and they're asking you, can I clean your car? Can I wash your windshield? They like waving their hands for you to stop.
They arrested a couple of these guys. These guys are not bad people.
Agents were targeting one undocumented individual with an active arrest warrant. Some of those detained had prior charges, including assault with a deadly weapon.
And by the way, these weren't some rogue agents running wild through neighborhoods. ICE was doing a targeted operation in areas known to shelter illegal immigrants in a sanctuary city that actively refuses to cooperate. So instead of helping federal agents, the mayor of LA wants them to just look the other way. Now, here's where things get even more interesting. CNN presses her on the chaos, on the violence, on whether or not the National Guard is needed. And this is what she says.
The point where it has escalated to, do you think the National Guard is needed now?
No, I don't think the National Guard is needed now. Things in LA are calm. I will tell you that I'm saddened by the extent of the vandalism in the form of graffiti all through the downtown area. But it is important for people to know that even in downtown, this is isolated to a few streets.
Calm? Seriously, calm. While she was saying that, the fourth night of violent riots was just getting started. Federal buildings were being attacked. Officers were being injured. Fireworks were being launched at people's faces, but she considers that calm. Now, here's where it really falls apart. CNN plays a clip right in the middle of her interview from the LAPD police chief. Listen to this.
All right, I want to play some sound from Police Chief Jim McDonnell. Let's listen.
This violence that I've seen is disgusting. It's escalated now since the beginning of this incident. What we saw the first night was bad. What we've seen subsequent to that is getting increasingly worse and more violent. Tonight we had individuals out there shooting commercial-grade fireworks at our officers. That can kill you. And we have adapted our tactics to be able to have a chance to be able to take these people into custody and to be able to hold them accountable. We are overwhelmed as far as the number of people out there engaged in this type of activity.
Back to what we just heard from the LAPD chief, you said that you're totally in sync with the police chief. He is saying that he's overwhelmed, that his forces are overwhelmed. What more do you need to hear from him to bring in more resources, to bring him the support that he is saying he needs?
Well, what I was saying is that the support he has called on, and he has received that support from the sheriff's department and from other police departments. And so I do not believe that he was describing a situation where we cannot bring it under control here. I think you should talk to him a little bit further. But what we are seeing, for example, there's nothing happening on our streets now. On Saturday, when this decision was being contemplated, there was nothing happening on our streets. As I mentioned, that evening, there was a protest that got out of hand. It was a protest of 100 people. None of that warrants federal intervention, and that's my point.
Right, but you also acknowledge that you don't know if there's going to be other immigration raids in the city.
Right.
So, I mean, that raises the question, what are you doing to prepare for that potential scenario? There could be more violence ahead.
You've got the city's own police chief saying that his officers are overwhelmed, and the mayor's out here acting like this is just a minor disturbance. This is the exact same strategy Democrats used in 2020. Cities were burning, stores were being looted, and they called it mostly peaceful. California's leadership, from the governor to the mayor, live in a world where reality doesn't matter, where mobs are justified, where law enforcement is the enemy. But when they're in trouble, who do they call? Law enforcement. They live in a world where protecting illegal immigrants is more important than protecting your own citizens. These politicians do not care that ICE is trying to remove violent criminals. They don't care that federal law is being ignored because they've decided in their own fantasy world that America has no right to enforce its own borders. Like, no one is saying immigration is bad or America doesn't welcome immigrants. The issue is illegal immigrants and the entitlement around being able to come to the USA, stay regardless of policy changes or statuses. Let's be very clear. Illegal immigration is a federal crime, and no, California does not get to opt out of it because they feel like it. Instead of supporting law and order, LA passes sanctuary city laws that bans police from helping ICE. This is more about law enforcement. While cities like LA roll out the red carpet for illegal immigrants, working Americans are struggling, regardless of where you stand on illegal immigration. The fact remains that we're pouring billions into aid programs for non-citizens while working Americans are left behind. If that same money went to helping our own struggling citizens, I think we'd see real progress. We talk about fixing the deficit, yet continue to mismanage taxpayer dollars. Like, I am not a big fan of handouts, but if we're going to spend the money anyways, it should start with Americans. Democrats need to stop pretending that prioritizing Americans, protecting our families, and securing our borders makes someone a racist. Caring about your own country doesn't make you hateful. Like, would you go out and feed the homeless before you feed your children at home? No. So it's the same concept. Now, this is where the mayor gets hit with reality. CNN shows her a CBS poll showing that 54% of Americans support deportations for illegal immigrants. Watch what she says.
I want to share the CBS poll. It shows 54% of Americans approve of the Trump administration's program to deport illegal immigrants. A minority, 46%, disapprove. Are Democrats out of touch on this issue?
Well, I think if you did the polling in Los Angeles, I'm not sure it would be that way, considering we are a city of immigrants. And then people might approve that policy, but do people really approve the federal government coming in and seizing power from a state and from a city? So I drilled down a little further on that poll because I do not believe that Americans support the federal intervention in a city takeover or a state takeover.
Yes, Miss Mayor, we get it. Los Angeles is a city of immigrants. But here's the part you're missing. Illegal immigration is not the same thing as legal immigration. And yes, Americans are sick of the excuses. They don't want open borders and endless welfare for non-citizens. They don't want violent street riots every time ICE carries out a task. But let me know, what do you think? Should the federal government override these sanctuary city laws? Do you support Trump's National Guard deployment to stop the chaos? Let me know in the comments. And as always, if honest commentary brings you value, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe, as it really helps support the channel. And tap the notification bell so you never miss an update. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you next time.